In the first part of this episode on Manny Bugato, he traced his foray into journalism. So, nagsimula dun sa involvement niya sa campus publication, and then later on, paano siya nag-apply sa mga tabloid at yung mga excitement ng habang nagtatrabaho bilang reporter sa mga dyaryo, mga tabloid na may connections sa Marcos dictatorship dati. Siyempre, may mga challenges doon at hindi nga raw niya medyo nagustuhan lahat. So dito sa second part ng episode na to, kinukwento naman ni Manny how he continued to work as a police beat reporter at the Western Police District in Manila. And then came along Vergel Santos, yung editor ng Manila Chronicle, ng Old Manila Times, and right now one of the foremost authorities in Philippine journalism. Among other things, he's a book author. So doon nagsimula yung second phase ng career ni Manny. Tatalakayin niya rin ito yung naging problema nila sa Times noon. Hindi ito yung Times ni Go Kong Wea. Iba pa yon, ibang period pa yon. Nagsimula siya mag-cover ng military mula nung magkakaroon ng mga coup d'etat against Cory Aquino. Kinuwento niya rin dito kung paano siya nag-cover ng EDS uprising, and then later on kung paano siya nahigop kumbaga sa military and defense reporting. Nag-cover siya kay Ramos, and from there tuloy-tuloy na yung kanyang career. At dito, panghuli, kung bakit niya naisipang mag-retire na in 2019. So ito yung episode na to. Pero bago yan, kinukwento ni Manny dito sa simula ng part na to, yung habang nagko-cover sa Western Police District noong 80s, late 80s, at kung saan dito niya na-encounter una yung corruption sa Philippine media. Hindi naman niya tinanggap, pero patuloy siya nagtrabaho dito kasi nga andun siya, yun ang trabaho. In his words, ito yung kalakaran. Papakita rin siya dito ng candidness about these things, to talk about one issue in the Philippine press, corruption, na hanggang ngayon ay problema pa rin. And this should be instructive to future journalists, future communicators. The issue of corruption is, it doesn't exist in a vacuum, but as Manny clearly shows, there's a way out of it as long as you remain professional. So yung second part na yun, ito yung pag-uusapan.
Sa Western Police District, pagka Friday payday, iikot ka sa doon lang sa may UN Avenue, di ba, yung headquarters. Lahat ng opisina ron, sa homicide, sa theft and robbery, jail assignments, sa police chief, sa deputy police chief, patrol, mobile, SWAT, lahat-lahat yan, mga dosing opisina, different offices. May 50 ka dyan.
Oh, wow.
50 pesos. Every Friday yan. Ang nagbibigay yung parang intelligence officer ng opisina. So imagine, if you have 50 pesos sa 12 offices, magkano yan? 600. Hindi lang yan. Kasi iikot ka sa police stations. Sa Tondo, Station 1, Station 3 sa Santa Cruz, Station 4 sa Sampaloc. Ano yan, di ba? Another 50 yan.
Yan ba yung old version ng Orbit?
Yan ang Orbit. Diyan nagsimula Orbit kasi orbitan mo yung mga stasyon, no? So kung may 6 yan, that's another 300, di ba? So magkano na? 900 a week. Hindi lang yan. Kasi kasama sa Orbit dyan yung mga gambling lords.
Wow.
Oo. Yung pinakamalaking high-alay bookies sa Pantakan na ka-base, another 50 yan.
Okay.
Yung kolektor ng mga vendor sa Tondo, another 50 yan. Yung merong tupada sa Moriones, another 50 yan. Yung mga nakapatakbo ng Saklaan, another 50 yan. So, in short, in a week, siguro magneneto ka ng 1.2 to 1.5 a week.
At that time, malaki yan.
A week. Ang monthly salary during that time is 780. So, doble.
Very lucrative, ha?
Very lucrative. So, sabi ko, hindi ko na kailangan itong per columns. No? Kasi per columns ko, 1,000 lang sa buwan eh.
Okay.
Eto, nagdineto ko ng 1.2 a week.
Oo.
Diba? Sabi ko, kaya para dito tumatanda yung mga reporter. Ang daming matanda sa Western Police District eh.
Okay.
Sabi ko, siguro happy na sila.
How did you deal with that?
Yun ang kalakaran eh. Sinasama lang ako ng driver tsaka ng photographer. Hindi ko na kilala yung mga yan eh. Bago nga ako eh, sinasama lang ako. Tapos, dahil paggabi ko, pagka kumakain kami sa mga tapsilugan dyan sa may Malate, tataka ako, bakit ayaw ko pagbayarin? May sukli pa. Siguro after 3 visits, nalaman ko na yung palang likod ng tapsilugan, may saklaan.
Kaya pala.
Na yung nagsaklaan pala, yung maintainer, yung nagkabayad ng bill namin, kasi namin sukli pa. Kasi kung 50 pesos nga naman, 50 pesos, eh tatlo kami, 150, hindi naman maabot ng ano eh, ng 150 yung kinakain namin eh.
Ay mo,
Oo, so may sukli pa.
the ethics aside, Mogs, napaka-exciting at colorful ng buhay reporter pala
Anak
noon.
ko, sabi ko, ganito pala rito. Ganito pala. Sabi ko, eh, napakasaya. Kaya pala sabi ko, itong mga kasama ko dito, matatanda na, ayaw ko umalis sa Western Police.
Buti hindi ka na stuck doon.
Ay, hindi. Kasi nung November 1985, si Berhel Santos was recruited to form a team para sa Revive Manila Times.
Okay.
Pero yung Revive Manila Times under the Davila family. No?
Okay.
Si Titong Rosas yung publisher namin. So, si Berhel, si Noel Cabrera, put a team na galing sa mga 3 newspapers, Daily Express, Manila Bulletin, tsaka Journal. So, from the journal side, ang nirecruit ni Berhel si Portiero, no? As editor.
Yeah.
O si Port. Tapos si LB Sadia, no? As editor. Tapos kami dalawa ni Dave Perediano, ang police reporter.
Okay.
No? Sa bulletin ang ni-recruit si Malu Mangahas, si La Coronel, si Rolly Fernandez, si Noel Cabrera, si Abisor Rojano galing sa Express. No? So binuo tong team at ang opisina namin sa may Roses Avenue, sa may comics.
Yung Atlas?
Yung comics, Atlas.
Sa Roses yan, di ba?
Sa Roses. Doon ang opisina namin. Yung warehouse, yung second floor noon, ginawang newsroom.
So doon kayo pala na unang kita-kita ni na Malu at na Sheila.
Sila Rusty Utico.
Okay. Powerhouse team pala yan.
Pete Daroy, sila Lorna Terol. Akong bata rin, akong police reporter pa. Siguro sila had more experiences sa newspaper than me, no? Ako, barely 2 years, 1984 85, wala pa nga, no? Na 83, no? Late 83 hanggang 85. So, barely 2 years. So, yun, kinuha ko sa Manila Times, no? Pero police pa rin, no? Police pa rin sa Western. But ang instruction ni Berhel, ayoko ng crime story.
Okay.
If you will write a crime story, trend, no? O kaya malaking istorya, no? And because of the political situation at that time, ang coverage ko sa police is more on rallies.
Okay, yeah.
Yung mga anti-Marcos rallies, no?
It was probably around 85, 86.
85 na, 85, late, November, late. So talagang police stories ko, hindi na crime.
Yung mga pinupukpok ng pulis.
Yan, since wala akong vehicle, wala akong titulo ng journal na may vehicle ka, maka-orbit ka, ay tumigil na ako sa orbit. No? Tsaka wala na akong time dyan dahil nandun ako sa political stories eh.
Okay.
Political na police stories. No? Nung December of 85, Cory decided to run for president.
Yeah. Elections.
So, lahat kami, nag-political mode na.
Yeah.
So, even with police, wala nang police story. Puro political stories na. No? Sa EDSA. Nung EDSA, nasa Times na. So, nung nag-announce si Enrile at si Ramos ng breakaway sa Aguinaldo, binabalik ako ni Berhel sa area ko, Manila Police. To look for signs of kung may activity sa Malacanang, around Malacanang, Mindiola, tahimik eh.
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
During that time na nung nag-break away nung early hours, walang activity, walang barricade, walang everything. Everything was normal, tahimik.
Yeah.
So, bumalik ako sa Roses. Sabi ko kay Labirel na wala namang activity. Normal, no? Nung nagtawag na si Cardinal Sin ng People Power, pumunta kami sa Cubao ng 9 p.m. kasi nga start na yung si Bus Aquino na yung Atom na mag-alat sa Cubao and mag-march. Yun ang pinaka-longest coverage ko.
Oh, wow.
Kasi
In the sense na you were in one spot.
hindi, kami umiikot eh.
Okay.
Kami yung eyes and ears on the ground eh. So, walang uwian.
Walang uwian in that
Walang
sense.
uwian, oh. Natulog kami sa Roses, doon sa may newsroom. Balik kami ng alauna, tapos umaga, balik sa kalye.
Tapos filing story.
Oo, tuloy-tuloy yung story eh. So, walang uwian yun nung the whole 4 days. Hindi ko nakita yung bahay ko. We were given na t-shirts ni Berel para pamalit lang, no? Pero yun nga, kami nasa kalye, sila sabi namin ano yung nakikita namin. Pero lahat kami one-man team kasi yung mga photographer may sariling buhay sila, walang kuha ng picture. I think I was in EDSA mga 3 times.
Okay.
Oo. Kinukobre ko around, no? Around.
Yeah.
So, nung final day ng EDSA, I was in Makati nung inatake yan ng mga Ramos Forces.
Yeah.
Yung police station. Nagbarilan dyan eh. I think 11 yung patay.
Yeah.
Oo. Nung umuwi ako sa opisina, dala ko yung report, I was happy kasi for the first time in my life, banner ako. Banner ako. Nakalatag na eh. Nakalatag na. Yung bloody
I hope rename mo yung yung edition na yun.
Hindi. Kasi di natuloy eh.
Bakit?
Alam bakit? Kasi noong 9 o'clock, si Marcos, malis na.
Okay.
Kaya nagpalit ng banner. Ang banner namin, Marcos, please.
Yes, I remember that.
Oo. Yung istorya ko, nasa back page.
Na-overtaken by events ka.
Oo. Nasa likod na yung istorya ko, wala pang byline.
Siningil mo ba si Verhel dyan?
Hindi eh, siyempre, talaga namang story yung Marcos, please eh.
Of course.
Oo, yun.
Napaka siguro nung time na yun, no? Napaka tense, heady, napaka exciting and everything. From the tabloids, this all prepared you for what came next as a wire correspondent.
Yes. Kasi when we were in the Times, nagkaroon ng walkout. We supported Berhel, pinahire nung management ng Times. And we went on strike. 1-1. It was the first newspaper strike under Cory. No? And luckily, Henry Lopez reopened Manila Chronicle in June 1986. So, the whole production and editorial staff ng Times, lock, stock, and barrel, went to Manila Chronicle. So, Manila Chronicle, first 6 months, I was also a police reporter to Western from June to December of 86. Noong 87, nag-start na ako sa military reporting kasi uso na yung kudita.
Yeah, I remember that. After Cory, di ba? Sunod-sunod na yun. Particularly in 1989.
So sunod-sunod na yung kudita. I covered all the kuditas hanggang 1990. And nung tabak mo si FBR, I was assigned by Berhel to follow him sa campaign. And when he won, I was assigned in Malacanang. But I covered Ramos for only 2 years, 92 to 94.
Yeah.
See, in 94, when Henry Lopez sold the Chronicle, I left. I joined Asahi Shimbun.
Actually, doon tayo nakakilala sa Asahi.
Oo. Because when I was covering Davao, nung naalala mo, nung kidnapping ni General Lubillo,
Bilyo, oo, ng NPA.
I was covering for Asahi Shimbun.
Yeah. I remember.
Pero may break yon kasi in 97, Malu asked me to join her sa Manila Times under Gokong Wei.
Yes.
I was the assistant news editor. Assistant ako ni Glenda. But in 1999, when the Times was sold by the Gokong Weis because of pressure from ERAP.
Forced to sell, yes.
Forced to sell. Bumalik ako sa Asahi.
So what made you jump from Asahi? From Asahi, I'm assuming from Asahi to Reuters na.
In 2003, Reuters na kasi ang political reporter ng Reuters, si Ruben Alabasto, retired.
But he did not actually retire from journalism. He just retired from Reuters and moved to, I think, Inquirer?
To Inquirer. Kasi sa Reuters hanggang 60 lang ang employment.
Kaya ka ba nag-retire?
Si Ruben was already 62 at that time. So they were looking for his replacement. So si Chari,
Villa,
sabi sa akin, Bok, pwede ka rito. So I tried my luck. Tanggap naman ako. So I stayed with Reuters the longest in my career, 15 years.
Wow. And then you retired from Reuters exactly what year?
2019.
Napagod ka na rin?
Well, I felt the toll sa aking career. Tsaka my health is not good. Ilang beses ako na hospital eh.
And then you were covering breaking news all the time, di ba? Right? And then
stressful, di ba? Masyadong stressful. Kaya sabi ko, it's time to retire.